May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be now and always acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. For many of you, most of you probably, this will be the first time you can remember that you haven't been in church on Mothering Sunday. A day of innocence and togetherness. Children given posies to take to their mothers. A whole family sitting around a table and sharing a meal. That's how I remember it, and probably you do too. Memories that reach back to childhood, merge with what we've been told by previous generations. It is the day of all the year, my grandmother used to sing. It is the day of all the year, the one day when I shall see my mother dear and bring her cheer, a mothering on Sunday. Children of the family who'd left the old home would come back for a day to visit Mum. One of the sons would bring a simnel cake. The girls would bring posies of violets and primroses they'd found in the lanes. The boys will all come home from town, the song continues. They'll all come home from town, and every maid will bustle down to show her gown. A generation later, in the 1940s, my aunt, who'd become a teacher, would make the journey down to Cornwall from Ealing for a couple of days' respite from the Blitz, though what kind of gown she was showing off is sadly not recorded. Certainly when I was a child, we didn't have the custom of making our mothers breakfasts. I can just see today's mums quaking in their beds at the crashing sounds coming from below, the acrid fumes coming up the stairs, the carnage that will have to be hosed away afterwards. Nor was there chocolate in those days to make your mother fat and spotty. Well, we certainly didn't give her any, and no greetings card, unless your Sunday school teacher had suffered a creative urge. And the tradition continues, of course, and I'm glad it does, but it can be bittersweet. The commonest question I hear is, am I a good enough mother? It's a huge pressure, and one not helped by a greetings card I saw recently with the cheery message, God couldn't be everywhere, that's why he gave us mothers. God couldn't be everywhere, that's why he gave us mothers. It's a lot to ask a working mother that her eyes, heart and mind should be everywhere. And that's why I suggest we need to remember the deeper truth about this day. Mothering Sunday was never meant to be about mothers. It was a day when the whole family went to church together, to Mother Church. For one day, the mother of the family was allowed to leave her post at the sink or the stove, and off they all went to church in the morning to worship their Maker. As the song continues, for mother will come to church, you see, of all the year that one day, the one, you see, that's made for me. It's every mother's free day. Now, probably the world's celebration of Mother's Day, as they call it, will never recover this insight of it being all about Mother Church. Mothers need to be recognised and thanked, and if that's what's happening today, no one's going to pull a long face. But mothering isn't the same thing as it was. Nursery schools, after all, are being asked to take on children as young as just 3 months old. More and more parents are struggling to bring up families on their own. More and more households, well, the bills won't get paid unless all available adults go out to work. More and more women, quite rightly, are insisting that they should be allowed the chance to develop a life of their own and become what they were meant to be. And yet the need for mothering hasn't diminished at all. Indeed, now is a time when the bonds of the family need to be strengthened and reaffirmed. Mothering isn't just about mothers. Children need unconditional love. They need people who are going to look after them in a selfless way, people who understand the meaning of self-sacrifice. Every child needs people who are going to be concerned that the child will grow up in security and love, their needs fully acknowledged and monitored. Children need to be encouraged and forgiven, taught and served, loved for what they are. They need to learn to trust and be trusted. They need to be valued. They need help to grow into the full, rounded people they're meant to become. All this was perhaps traditionally the role of mothers, but mothers can't be everywhere. So a child needs a whole army of people to ensure they won't fall through the gaps. A grandparent can be the most important person in a child's life, along with brothers and sisters, uncles, cousins and aunts, not to mention teachers, scouts and beaver leaders, doctors and all the rest. Every time we baptize a child, we say, all Christian people will be your brothers and sisters. And that is what is true. The church is a family, and we are in this together. Mothers can't be everywhere, and we come together as a church to provide the extended family that each one of us needs. And it's not just the children. Is there anyone here who doesn't feel the need to love and be loved? This isn't just a bright idea of mine. This is a part of God's plan for his people. There are some things that aren't just there because they're convenient or because they seemed a good idea at the time. There are some things we stand up for because they are ends in themselves, that we protect because they are what we believe God has shown us in the Bible we can't do without. Justice, truth, health, integrity in public life, for instance. These are things that the market won't provide. They're things that the world will pay lip service to if it's convenient. But you often get the feeling that these things mustn't be allowed to get in the way. We come together here. We come together to say, no, stop. There are things we are going to stand up for, things that are beyond price. Jesus was going off to Jerusalem to be tortured and killed, to be recognized as king only in the moment of his death. And even so, on the way, just a few miles away, he heard the cry of a blind beggar and did what was needed. It's the duty of a ruler, whatever happens, to look after the welfare of the people. It's the duty of the children of God to look after each other in the way God has provided. So today isn't only about mothers. Not one of us should feel left out, because mothers can't be everywhere, and so we all have our part to play. So yes, we give thanks for mothers and for all that they are, but we also thank God for the people he's given each and every one of us to look after. So off you go. Start writing letters. Pick up the phone. Go on social media. Learn how to use Skype, WhatsApp and Zoom. If someone rings your front doorbell, open an upstairs window and have a long, cheery chat with them. Because all this will pass. Despite what the scaremongers say, you're not going to die. Keep your spirits up and do the same for others. We're in the business of making the world, after all. The world will go its own sweet way unless there are people watching, people looking to protect the things that matter, people making sure the connections stay strong. That's our responsibility as the people of God in this place. Go well, keep safe, and God be with you.